Hello, 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 and welcome to the Cheap Seats. This is our weekly podcast. We do a normal Cheap Seats, then we do an FPL show where Dean's going to tell me, because Dean's like in the top 100,000 in the world. I'm somewhere in the latter part. I'm like above halfway, so I'm passing in FPL, but we'll figure it out. Dean, we've had an international break. How good was it to just let go of FPL for like a week and a bit?
You see, for me, real football at the moment sucks. So I'm loving FPL. So I moved up to, I'm 48,000 odd in the world at the moment. So FPL is taking a lot of my time because it's definitely an interesting season. And I think in terms of picks, there's a lot of different picks. There's a lot of different teams. There's a lot of, with these international breaks, it's causing havoc because people are coming back late. People are getting on red lists. So in terms of FPL, it's very interesting. And again, this week, it's one of those where you also just, there's so many different things happening, so many different options that you can go for. So yeah, it's definitely been one of the better FPL seasons so far for me. We only 6-7 games in anyway.
But you're running away with it. That's all that matters. So what we normally do is we give you our transfers in and out for the week, our captaincy picks, and also our differentials. I'm going to start with myself this time, just to kind of listen to Dean's explanation of all the picks that he's chosen. So this week, I've decided to do something. I'm reversing what I did last week. I'm bringing up Doucouré because I had taken him out before the United game, and I'm taking out Ismail Assar. Assar largely because his next games are,
really
if you
tough.
bear with me, they've got Liverpool, they have, I think it's City, they've got Southampton, and they've got Arsenal, and they've got Manchester United, and the next clean game they have is probably back in December. So I'm saying Watford in those games, look, if they're going to score, he's the guy. But it's not going to be like a goal plus some bonus points. So that 10-point swing is not coming in. And then obviously Conor Gallagher's my differential. Really loving these midfielders in 5.5, between 5.5 and upwards. That's where I think FPL is being won and lost this season, because obviously you have so many big names in your teams that you have to find value. And so my midfield essentially right now is Doucouré, Gallagher, Rafinha, Benrahma, and Mo Salah essentially. That's how my 5-man midfield looks like. So Conor Gallagher, he's had 2 goals, 3 assists. Looking very good for Crystal Palace. They play Arsenal this weekend.
That's what I was about to say.
I put him in there because look, if Patrick Vieira wants to bully Arsenal, he knows how to bully Arsenal because he played that format, that game. And if they're going to score goals, they normally come through Conor Gallagher, which is great for me. It's either he's assisting the assist or he's the assist maker. So I'm really happy with that. Doucouré's taken 4 assists. So he's the second highest assist person in the league after Paul Pogba. Paul Pogba got his 7 assists in 3 games, and everyone else is chasing him. So it was between Townsend and Doucouré for me at Everton, but I chose him. Dean, let's look at yours and we'll talk about captaincy picks afterwards. You've chosen Phil Foden in, Diogo Jota out, Raul Jimenez as your differential, and Mo Salah. I have 2 questions for you. The initial iteration was Ferran Torres instead of Phil Foden. Why the one and not the other?
So and this is why I said there's a lot of interesting things. So Jota is apparently fit. He got sent home early from Portugal during the week, but Klopp came out and said him and both Trent are fit. So in terms of that, I think we're looking fine for both of them to start. The reason why I'm looking to get Jota out is Firmino's been sitting on his back for the last 2 weeks. He didn't go to Brazil, and you probably think Klopp's going to revert back to his front 3 of Salah, Firmino, Mane. So I think Jota's position, even though he's fit, is probably kind of a little bit shaky. So that's the reason why I'm looking to get Jota out. The big thing is Liverpool play the early game on Saturday, and you normally get a little bit of leaked team news early on Saturday morning. So if Jota's playing, I'll leave Jota in. So that's the first thing to say. But I initially had Torres in, and Torres, the news came out today that he's fractured his foot, and he's probably going to be out for a month and a half. And you're looking at City's fixtures over the next couple of weeks, and they look really good. They play Burnley this week, which is a team they can easily go win, 5-6-0 at. So you're kind of wanting to get a lot of City assets into your team at the moment. The big thing is obviously no one knows who from City is going to play. So my initial thinking was Torres missed the last 3 games, which in any ordinary team you'd think that's a bad sign. But for City, if someone misses games, it means they're going to probably play some games soon. So Torres was looking good. Champions League, they're a little bit under more pressure, so you'd expect them to play some of their bigger players in Champions League, so Mahrez or Foden, Grealish. So that's why I was looking at Torres as a bit of a differential pick, if you can call it that, because he was pretty nailed on, and I mean, he had a great start to the season for City anyway. So now Torres is out. Foden is an option because Foden, again, the only problem with Foden is he played both England games. He's a bit of a, will Pep go ahead and now play him again against Burnley, which is a team you'd expect him to beat, even if he doesn't play his best 11. So the Foden pick is more a case of you need to get someone in City into your team for the next run, and he's probably looking like the most nailed on person after maybe a De Bruyne, Edison, and Diaz. Maybe Grealish, but we saw Grealish get taken out pretty early in the last City game, I think, or against Liverpool. He just hasn't been performing Grealish as well as what people have expected. So kind of waiting to see what happens on City. But then Jimenez versus, and this is why I know you're going to ask me, Jimenez versus Hwang.
Yes.
So a couple of weeks back, I said on the show, Hwang is a great pick. He looks like the only person that can score some goals in that Wolves team. And over the weekend, he played, 2 weeks ago, the last game week, he scored the 2 goals, and Jimenez got the 2 assists. And I really like him. I like when I watch Wolves play, he's moving up and down that pitch. He's doing the right thing. The big thing with Hwang is there's such a big rotational risk with him at Wolves. You've got Podence, you've got Traore, you've got Trincao, that can all play up there. And Jimenez is nailed on. Jimenez is going to play every single game. He's on penalties. He scored that goal the week before last, and then he's got the 2 assists. So from that perspective, I think Jimenez is the safe bet. Don't get me wrong. I think Hwang is a great option if you need to free up some funds at 5.6 for a striker that looks to be playing. If I was the Wolves coach, I'd play him week in and week out. Him and Jimenez look to have something going. He said it in the match afterwards that he understands Jimenez, and Jimenez knows which ball to play to him, and he can then latch onto it and go. So I think Hwang is a great option if you need to free up funds, and I'll probably look to go to him soon, but not right now. So we'll see. And then Captain Salah.
Yes, let's talk about the captaincy right now. With the whole Ole benching Cristiano Ronaldo situation, a lot of people had Ronaldo nailed on as their captain.
Yeah.
And obviously Chelsea have this great run of games coming up. They've got Brentford away from home, but it's still in London. It's a London derby, where you would expect Lukaku to try and dominate. But Chelsea haven't looked great in the past couple of weeks. So that kind of pours water on a Lukaku captaincy. Cristiano's benching just was the wildest thing ever. And that also kind of was like, okay, hold up. Like, if you're going to do that, then what's the point? So it feels like we're going back to you just have to captain Mo Salah and ride the Salah wave throughout these games. Unless if you're going to play like a big 4 team, then you're going to try to figure out another situation.
Yeah, so I think there's been a lot of calls, and I've seen on Twitter that people should just put the armband on Salah and not even remove it. Like, just leave it on him for the rest of the season, and you'll probably do fairly well captaining Salah week in, week out. Man will always perform. And you saw it even against the City game where they're playing probably looking like league winners or previous, champions anyway. And the man can still go and dominate the way that he did. So to not back Salah is the wrong move. And I agree with you. I think Lukaku versus Brentford, I was looking at Ronaldo to Lukaku moves this week, and Brentford are looking really good defensively. So Brentford, in terms of the top teams cracking them, I'm not saying it's impossible, but there's no need to go Ronaldo to Lukaku if they're playing Brentford. I wouldn't say that's a fixture you should target. Ronaldo versus Leicester, I think, is probably the second best captaincy pick because Leicester are looking horrendous at the back.
And I'm going to need a lot of Ronaldo to kind of fight off the fact that there's no Maguire overrun.
And I think Ole now, after the flack he's got from benching Ronaldo, will now not bench Ronaldo ever. So I don't think that benching risk is available or should be a risk anymore. You never know. But I think Ronaldo does start versus Leicester, and I'd probably back him to score. I just think Salah could probably go to Watford and score 3. So Salah captain is definitely a big choice. But there's also a lot of differential captains this weekend, which are not bad choices either.
Well, Kane has won against Newcastle. On the tune, if Kane's going to start wanting to score, because that's what we've been waiting for.
Or Kane or Son. More likely Son, but not.
Yeah,
I know what you're saying.
But and then you've also got Antonio against Everton. Everton's defense is okay-ish, but this is a nice fixture, I think, for me. If you're looking for, if you have a Wilson Antonio, to just kind of allow, if Moyes allows them to run at this Everton side. But then, Dean, who do you pick from Man City against Burnley? Because normally as FPLers, we'd look at that fixture and we'd be like, okay, let's get in some City assets. Is Kevin De Bruyne an option going in, or is it somebody else?
So I had this debate as well with myself, and I think if you can get Kevin De Bruyne in your team, as well as Salah and Ronaldo or Lukaku, you do it. And I think that's one of the options, that having 2 cheap strikers and maybe a Tony and a Hwang would then be able to get you to having a Lukaku, Ronaldo, a Salah, and a KDB. Because I think City's fixtures of coming up are great. The problem is, to be able to do that, you probably need, if you're on a wild card, I would maybe do it. But for a lot of guys, they probably played their wild card early or can't really afford to do that. But from a City perspective, again, from a attacker, you just don't know who's going to play. No one will ever know who's going to play. And anyone that says they know is lying. So the only people that are pretty nailed on are Edison at the back, Diaz probably in that centre back, and KDB. Cancelo to a portion, well, to a degree, he's probably looking like he's played every single game this season. The thing is, you also wouldn't be surprised if versus Burnley he says, you know what, Cancelo, you just take a bit of a break. I'm going to play Kyle Walker on the right. And
yes, the Alonso
on the left
I had.
Yeah.
Before the window.
So that's why, if I was looking to get a City asset in, which I am this week, and it's weird that I'm looking at Foden, but defensively I can't. I would go Diaz, 100%. Get Diaz in this weekend.
At 6.1.
If you can. Yeah, at 6.1, his price is only going to go up from here. So if you can, probably do that. A lot of guys have got 2 Chelsea defenders, 2 City defenders, with Diaz and Cancelo being the 2 City, and Azpilicueta and Rudiger being the 2 Chelsea ones. So try get them. But then again, if you're looking at other defensive options, which you could probably go, is like Reece James looks to be coming back, and he's pretty nailed on for Chelsea. And Brentford are good defensively, but
Pontus Janssen, 4.6, and Ethan Pinnock. They're both the top. They're in the top 3 point scorers in the FPL. So my only problem is that I've got David Raya as my goalkeeper. So I'm keeping Pontus Janssen on my bench. So yeah, because I don't want to have a double hit. It's one of the worst things for you to have, is to have a goalkeeper and a defender from the same team. But that's how good Brentford have been. I can't keep.
And Brentford go on a great run after Chelsea. So get Brentford players in after Chelsea. That's my game plan. And Mpho and Tony are top of the list. Have to be top of the list for a lot of people.
Yeah, but I'm still holding on to Adam Armstrong from Southampton. Hopefully, he will score another goal. Because he's only on 1 from 1, and if you're not going to score every other game, then you are out. Because I'll go get Chris Wood, any day.
Well, this is the thing. If you look at Southampton fixtures are great, but Armstrong's not delivering. Hwang is delivering, but you don't know if he's going to play. And then you start looking at who else you can bring in. Like Mpho.
Then it's Mpho.
Neil Mpho he's not a bad choice.
6.5, which is a little bit out of many people's price range. You need to look at the team of Pookies, though that little group of crop of players. Yeah, well, like, look, they're at the bottom of the league, but Team Mpho is always going to get 10 goals.
Look, the one thing I will say, and this is my shot for the week, is Zaha. I reckon Zaha is going to go on a bit of a run. He plays Arsenal.
You hit Arsenal,
look,
so
Arsenal. No, Arsenal. I think if we all know Zaha, if he decides to rock up, the man can destroy any team he feels like it. Right. The thing with Crystal Palace's fixtures, and I'm just bringing it. So they play Arsenal. They then play Newcastle, which, depending on what happens in Newcastle, but you probably back them to go there.
Well, Newcastle's not going to get new players in the next 2 weeks. So
they're not going to get players in the next 2 weeks. So fine, you're still going to deal with the Newcastle the way they are. They then play City, so 100% they're going to get smashed there. Then they play Wolves, Burnley, Villa, Leeds. They then got a game against United. Then Everton, Southampton, Watford, Spurs, Norwich. So all the way up until the end of the year, except for that City United game, they can do something. And I think either Edouard or Zaha are two players from Palace that you should maybe look at. Zaha just because he's a little bit less.
I've got him in.
He's a good pick, and like you say, those 5.5 midfielders, if you can get one that goes on a run, 100%. So it's one of those, and like you say, it's a game where 5.5 and 6 million is where you're looking to. That's where the differentials are coming. That's where, because everyone's got Salah, everyone's got Lukaku, everyone's got Ronaldo, everyone's probably got Trent. That's where you're starting to look to gain grounds on people on those differentials or those different picks that you have in those cheaper positions. So
yeah.
But anyway, we'll probably end up and I'll get a red arrow this weekend. Then it means nothing.
Well, we hope not, because we need some of our guys represented there at the top. I tried my best, but normally it's my heart that kind of kills, because I keep on looking at reputation rather than stats. But that's a conversation for another day. Thank you very much, Dean, for that. That's our FPL picks for the week. Please remember to subscribe to the channel. We're live on Twitter, Facebook, as well as on YouTube. So please catch us there. Follow us on those platforms, because we'll keep on bringing you this type of content. Dean just literally dissected the midfield options for you in those very bad teams that nobody ever watches. So that's the most important thing you need to take out of this. But have a great one. Enjoy your weekend. A Saturday kickoff, so that means a Saturday deadline. And it closes on Monday because Arsenal's not playing in Europe, so we can play Monday night. So that's a good one. Enjoy the football this weekend. Dean, thank you very much, and goodbye to everybody. Thank you for listening. And lesale kakahiso.